from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people who wish they were winning, like, I can't even remember, prize. If you'd like to win a prize, so would I, so we share that desire together. I can't even remember. This is a movie about me, or this is an episode about me not being able to remember the movie A Christmas Story, or trying to remember it. And now in trying to remember how to open a podcast about me trying to remember the plot of A Christmas Story, I forgot one of the biggest lines or jokes in the movie. And that's totally okay, because I'm not here to be accurate, or I'm here to keep you company, take your mind off stuff. This is a classic episode of Sleep With Me, Tale of the Tape. We're running these so you have something to listen to during this holiday season. That's somewhat seasonal, so I'll be trying to recap Ralphie's adventures with his family, all to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff. I'm really glad you're here, whether you're coming back at time after time after time, or you're brand new. This show's here to be your friend in the deep, dark night, and just keep you company. It's a bit different, does take some getting used to, so give it 2 or 3 tries. And I'll explain the structure of the show and everything, but we got support coming up. That's for the people that benefit from the most from the podcast. So if you only listen occasionally or you're new, don't worry about it. And then after that is a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then we'll talk about A Christmas Story. Because I know for me, this time of year is not the easiest time to sleep. So that's why I'm here to help. And I really appreciate you checking this podcast out and coming back. If this podcast has changed your life, see, it's there for all seasons, even if you live in a non-seasonal part of the world. We really could use your support, but only if this podcast regularly makes your life better. But if it does, please consider either supporting the show directly or one of these sponsors. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix. And oh boy, am I excited, because my Helix is on its way. I took the Helix quiz after I moved. You know, some of my sleeping preferences changed. So I took the quiz. I got matched with the perfect mattress for me and how I sleep, how I like to sleep cool and my needs. You know, but what about you? The winter season is on us, and with it being cooler, are you going to spend more time indoors, relaxing with family, playing games, watching TV? Maybe even if you have a coldy cold, you know, you're really going to want a comfortable mattress then. So it's the perfect time to invest in a new mattress. Helix has you covered, because we all have different ways we like our mattresses to feel. We all have different sleep positions, you know, different levels of firmness we like. So here's the thing. Take that Helix quiz, helixsleep.com/sleep, because Helix is going to match you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences and sleep needs. It makes buying a mattress so easy. And like I said, you know, I like to sleep cooler. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. But I've developed a fondness for firmer mattresses now. So I was looking for something like that. And the Helix quiz worked it all out for me. I'm just waiting. Every day I hear the doorbell. I'm like, is that my new Helix? So you could be sleeping in a new Helix while I'm sleeping in a new Helix. We'll have one more thing in common. And no matter what this colder season brings, we know we'll both be comfortable. But the best part is Helix always has a deal for our listeners. So go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 27% off site-wide during their end-of-year sale. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for their exclusive end-of-year offer. 27% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Everybody, Scoots here, and you know, when I wake up in the morning, I try to take some downtime, some quiet time before I get my day started. But as soon as that quiet time's over, my brain's bouncing around. What all the things I got to do? I'm forgetting the things I got to do. I'm jumping from one thing to the other. I try to drink some coffee to boost my focus, but it ends up making me jittery. And while I have a couple tools at work, you know, meditation, pausing, it can be a struggle. And I do have a lot to accomplish every day. So I'm always on the lookout. What else can help me focus, get things done, but that doesn't have a downside. And that's what I love about our new sponsor. It solves some of those problems. And I'm talking about Everyday Dose, which is coffee plus benefits. Everyday Dose combines high-quality coffee with powerful ingredients like lion's mane and chaga, collagen, protein, and nootropics to fuel your brain, boost focus, and give you clean, sustained energy all day long. And it's delicious. It tastes just like coffee, but there's no downsides. There's no crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy. And then I can get to focusing on what's important, putting you to sleep, right? So if you get those coffee jitters, if you wake up and you say, man, I wish there was something to help me focus on what's important, that tastes good, well, you got to check out Everyday Dose. Right now, get 61% off your first Coffee Plus starter kit, free Peppermint Mocha Creamer Plus for the holidays, and over $100 in free gifts. Plus, enter for a chance to win $100 cash or get your entire order refunded. Visit everydaydose.com/sleep or use sleep at checkout. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, Scoots here. This message is for the super listeners. So if you're new, you only listen occasionally, or you're just going through a tough time, this message is not for you. But if you're still listening right now, you probably already know what I'm going to say, right? Because you listen 4 nights a week. Maybe you listen to 8 episodes a night. Maybe you fall asleep fast, or you've been listening for months and months or years and years and years. So I'm going to start with a simple question, and I want you to think about this for a second. How much do you plan on listening to Sleep With Me in 2026? Is it going to be a part of your life in 2026? Because the reality is, for you to be able to listen in 2026, right now, tonight, one real person has to support the show. And the reality, like I talk about in Liza's message, is it's either one person that's going to sign up and support the show right now or zero. It's not every listener, because not every listener is a super listener, and most super listeners don't support the show either. It's just one listener. And just like I'm hoping you're the one, maybe you're hoping that someone else out there is the one, that someone else is going to do it, but I'm hoping it's you, because you may be the only person paying attention, the only super listener listening to me right now, hearing me right now. But in addition to that, you could get the Sleep With Me Plus on sale before the end of the year. If you've never supported the show, you can get 20% off your first 3 months just by signing up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. If you sign up for a gift subscription, you gift yourself the gift of Sleep With Me Plus, or someone else gives you the gift of Sleep With Me Plus. You could get 20% off that gift subscription, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 20% off. And you could do that right on Sleep With Me Plus's main page. Because if the podcast is going to be a part of your nights in 2026, if I'm going to keep making those nights better, it's going to be you or it's going to be somebody else supporting the show, right? For your listening, if you're a super listener. And if you're in a place where you could do so, I hope you're the one. And you could save 20% off. You can use the link in the show notes, but don't put it off another day if you're thinking about it. If you're thinking about what it's going to be like in 2026, support the show right now and save money. sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. The Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcript.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. And hey, the thing I've been talking about lately is like there's ways to support the show beyond the sponsors and supporting the show directly. If you're an occasional listener, right? If you're a new listener or you can't afford to support the show, follow the show on your podcast app of choice. Make sure to like or comment if your app allows that, and say hi. Spread the word about the show in person when it comes up, or let people know about it. Go ahead right now. Follow the show on your podcast app right now. Then you get the latest episodes and stuff like that. Great. Yeah, spread the word when you can, or sign up we're relaunching our referral program. It's going to be based with like live stream get-togethers every once in a while. We're going to make it more fun. You can sign up for that. sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, REFER. Thanks. And what do you say we get down with the show? Hey, you all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep. Welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. And what I'm going to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's been keeping you awake, whether it's thinking, feeling, sensing, changes in weather, in routine, like a to-do list. As the to-do list can grow this time of year, passing of time, that can, thinking about the passing of time, people bringing up this subject, father and mother time. How come mother time doesn't get, she does not get enough credits? Or is it like father time? Father and mother time. I don't know. Anyway, whatever's keeping you awake, I'm going to send my voice across. Did I say I'm going to create a safe place where you can set aside what's keeping you awake? That's step one. But what I'm going to do is create a safe place where you can set aside those things. Internal distractions. That's another way. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send. How are you going to make a safe place? Thank you. And actually, I'll comment on temperature next. What I'm going to do is send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, circular, I don't know, more like is swirlular a word? It's hard to say if it is, so no wonder it's not in, regular usage. Swirlier. It sounds like, is that an onomatopoeia? Like it sounds like it looks. You'd say, describe Scooter's meanders as swirlier. It's swirlier than what? No. Circular, swirlular. Yeah, that one. I got it there. Yes, I got to squinch my mouth closer. Swirlular. Oh boy, if you're new here, you're in for a treat. I think, I guess, depending on how you define treat loosely, swirlular, it almost sounds like I've turned into a robot, a senseless robot, but yes, swirlular logic. Also, my meanders are swirlier. I don't want to be competitive. Swirlier, more swirly. Not more surly, though. I could, if I can get into some surly. Did I say surly? What word did I just say? But I meant to say surly. If I do anything surly, it'll ideally be subtextual or something, or masked in, whatever, subjugated emotions. I don't know. Is that a thing? I think I do that but that's part of the context of this podcast. I don't know. That might be a little bit harsh, because that sounds like a harsh word. Plus, I probably should, know the definition. But yeah, swirlier, all those things. Because I want to take your mind off. So especially this time of year, we have like the across. This is the big change. We're in the middle of the seasonal change. And they say seasons change, people change. Is that how seasons change, people change? And, you're supposed to layer your clothing. You got your heat. Right now I'm over layered. Usually I don't layer my clothing when I'm doing the podcast, because I'm in a closet. This will be a little descriptor behind the scenes. I haven't done this in a while. And if you're new here, yes, I'm not like the glamorous life of a sleep podcaster exists within the fictional realms of the sleep podcast itself. But I record this podcast in a closet in my apartment, and it's not a walk-in closet. I call it a climb-in closet. In reality, it's more of a press yourself against the wall to get by the clothes to the back of the closet, which I have cleared out with no clothes. And then I have some moving blankets on the wall here and above me. And I actually have this old carpet with an animal print on it. Not animal print, a printout of an animal. I can't say which kind of animal. Let's just say what's the cutest animal that's sleep friendly? That fuzzy one, with the cute eyes, that kind of one. It was my living room carpet till I realized how, I think it was ostentatious. It was some sort of computer print, not quite 8-bit, but close, of an animal in black and brown. Kind of like you'd see on the hood of a car or a van, driven by somebody like me, that you'd say, well, that guy, I went to high school with him. And it was always, he's harmless, but he's strange. He's got that van with the everybody's favorite marsupial on there. No one knows why. Also, he has a, is it a marsupial the cutest animal in the world? I don't know. I can't. Is it mammalian? That's a good question. I can't answer that either. But actually, I was in the middle of complaining about over-layering and trying to relate to the audience, because so I overlayered, because it's, I'm lucky I live in the Bay Area in California, where our seasonal it changes. It's slight, and we have a little bit of a cooler streak here. And so, I was a little cold, and I said, well, let me throw on a sweatshirt before I record the show. Now I regret it, because I can't really take it off till I stop recording. But I guess I'm more, I'm a hot-blooded chicken and sea. I've got a marsupial rug that's a metaphor for something else right under me. But if you're new here, this is a podcast to take your mind off stuff. I'm glad you're here. If I haven't, I am confident, I'm mildly confident in only this podcast in context that ideally I took your mind off of stuff like for the past few minutes. But this podcast is a little bit goofy because I make it, and it's full of mumbles like that and stumbles, and I guess we've already talked about this, but that's a good name for the cutest animal in the world, Stumbles. Because then it makes it more. Because if it was too cute, I guess that would be the second one. I guess that would be the kid brother of the cutest animal in the world, Stumbles. The kid brother, coming to Gingerbread Press 2037, Stumbles. The kid, too much in the subtitle though. The kid brother of the cute. Maybe I could do that as an autobiography. What do you think about that? Fictional autobiography written by Stumbles. Dear Diary. What would I guess first off? Well, anyway, I'll save the backstory for another time. Excuse me. If you're a new listener here, the whole idea of this podcast is to take your mind off whatever's been keeping you awake, but with the caveats that you don't really have to listen to me. You can listen at your leisure. You can actively listen now. Here's how the show structure normally goes. Like tonight, we're going to talk about a holiday special. So usually we have about 5 minutes at the top of the show. That's like the business of, making sure the podcast can run and the credits and stuff. Then there's usually about a 12-minute intro, which is a meandering metaphor to try to explain the podcast. Different every time, kind of like a show in itself. Some people fall asleep during this part, and so it's different every time, but it also feels familiar because I want you to feel welcome. This is a safe place, and you're welcome here. Then I will go into the episode portion, and then where I'll talk about a holiday special. And then at the end of the show, we'll do some thank yous and good nights, and that's what the show. That's how the show goes. Now you're under no pressure to listen, so you could start actively listening. maybe you could say, well, I wonder what's special. And then once I start talking about the special, you could sleep into sleep with me. That's pretty good. You could slip into passive listening. And then this is not patented yet, but reflective listening. That's where your ears just bounce my words off. They don't bother your brain. Now, some people, we this podcast, we're beyond the binary, so we believe in gray areas. So you could do a combination of any of those listening types, too. You can bring as much nuance as you want. You could say, well, he's more of a, just hearing like, that kind of thing. That's fine, too. So there's not really any rules here. The rules are no pressure. You fall asleep when you want. I'll be here for about an hour. But if you can't sleep, I'll be here fully. Like, I'm going to give this episode my full attention while I'm making it so that you don't need to pay attention. Kind of a, I don't know if that's a paradox or a contradiction. I mean, I'm a living contradiction. Believe me, I know that. But here's the main message. I'm glad you're here. I want to take your mind off the reason why. One of the biggest reasons is I've been there, sleepless, tossing and turning, staring at the ceiling, watching the clock, all of that stuff. Now, this podcast doesn't work for everybody. It does. I do get a lot of feedback, though. So give it, if you're on the fence, you don't need to give it a few tries, but you could, and I do grow on people. But there's also people that loathe me. And I mean, if you do loathe me, there's already other people that have spoken on your behalf. Believe me, you can send me an email or whatever, but you can also, there's plenty of other sleep options out there. Audiobooks, LibriVox, radio. My personal preference is KDFC class. You can listen to that on the internet. I'm going to try out the Goon Squad next. That was recommended to me. So there's other options there. This option for people that kind of want a bedtime story, a bore friend to imaginarily come over, take your mind off of stuff, use the lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, and, just not get to any, say, once you say, are you going to get to the point? Well, eventually I will get to the cone, not a point, but, I'll get there. I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but when I do, so that's how this podcast works. A lot of shoulder shrugging moments for this show where you say, when is he with this? So anyway, I'm glad you're here. These are my messages, I guess. I appreciate your time, and I really hope and I really yearn to help you fall asleep. So thanks so much for stopping by, and let's keep this sleep train a-moving. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Zocdoc. And I'll just tell you right up front, you got to check out Zocdoc because 2026 is going to be a new year for me, new insurance, new care providers, and I'm so glad I have an option like Zocdoc. Because this year is going to be one more year under my, the old experience belt, as they say, the life experience belt. And that means I want to have a good relationship with the doctor I could talk to and trust, whether it's about my sleep issues around stress, or anything else. I just have a question. I say, hey, what about this? Or what about this thing? I want to be comfortable. I want to feel heard. And I also want to be able to get an appointment with a doctor who takes my insurance. Zocdoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, are a good fit for any medical need you might have, and are highly rated by verified patients. Once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time slot that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. Appointments made through Zocdoc also happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. More often than not, you can even get same-day appointments. And like I said, I'm going to be using Zocdoc in 2026. It gives me so much relief with my move, with getting new insurance. I know I've got an option that works. So you should check it out too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to Zocdoc.com/sleep to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's Zocdoc.com/sleep. Zocdoc.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, hey everybody, it's me. Happy holiday season. And I know that, this time of year can have its ups and its downs for everybody. And, but I also like to, create some seasonal shows. So if this isn't for you, that's why I try to keep the archives free. So if the holiday stuff isn't for you, that's cool too. But we're also in this in-between time on our series, Star Trek The Next Generation, the sleep version, whatever I'm going to call that. That'll start in the new year. I guess that's an announcement that maybe not everybody's heard. So next year, I'll be, because we just finished Metastasis News, when I'm recording this, one more episode still has to be released. But, when you're hearing this, it'll be over. And then for the holiday season, we'll do some holiday shows, take 1 week off, and then we should start with Star Trek The Next Generation. And it won't be totally, whatever you call that, like in a row. I'm going to bounce around, but we'll be doing Star Trek The Next Generation, kind of like we did Game of Thrones, and what was that other one that we just did? Metastasis News, a Breaking Board. That's what I was going to call Breaking Board, but I never did. But so for now, we're going to be covering, so tonight, actually. Also, I just took my sweater off before I started recording this, in case anybody was in the intro. I feel good. I feel really good right now. But I was trying to think of, a different way to do a holiday, because we did the March of the Wooden Soldiers one, right? And I was thinking of, Christmas movies and then, ones... because my memory's, my memory's not so hot. Not that I don't know if everybody's is, but I was like, if I was going to pick a Christmas special, I feel like that's divisive almost. What's the best one? Are you a Frosty fan? No, I'm not. Okay, Scoot. So to talk about a buzzkill, but then you'd have to say, well, you got to go with Rudolph, or you got to go with Santa Claus is Coming to Town, or something more modern. So then I started thinking about movies, and there's only a couple movies, but there's one that's kind of, I think it may have gotten TV burnout because it was on TV a lot. But when I was young, it was the Christmas movie because you'd watch it on tape or whatever, A Christmas Story. But then I was thinking, I think, is this a word, vignettes? That's what the word is, right? I used to think it was I thought it was I would get vignettes and vinaigrette mixed up. And I'm not kidding, because of my dyslexia. Those are the kind of words that get tricky for me. I'm not even sure if it's vignette, but I think it is, and I don't know anything about the backstory. At one point, I probably knew about the backstory of A Christmas Story, but I don't anymore. If I can name anyone, so this is again, just in case I got any, if any knees are starting to get jerky here, this isn't to make fun of A Christmas Story or anyone involved in the production of it or of anything. I really don't try to do anything at anybody else's expense on this show. And it's something I love. Unfortunately, I'm an ignorant person. I mean, let's put that out there. I'm ego-driven, so I can only remember what's important to me. These are non-judgmental things. These are just, so don't worry, I'm not trying to be critical myself. But I do like it. But also, I think there's something about, there's the one that I never saw until just last year or the year before. What was that one with the kid, Home Alone? That's more of a Thanksgiving special. But I think because A Christmas Story became so played on TV, and I don't mean this as a total negative, that it really got broken into these act breaks that would happen between commercials. And I guess it was really well suited for that because it was almost like it was a through story about Ralphie, right? Ralphie or Mike? I wanted to say Mikey. Scott Schwartz is in it. I love Scott Schwartz. I like saying Scott Schwartz. I hope that's that actor's name. He's one of the friends. But yeah, there's Ralphie's quest for the Red Rider. And then there's little stories about the family kind of interspersed. But I was also thinking, how much do I really remember? And so instead of actually, so I said, so I have it playing, the movie playing right now, just started playing. But I can probably get ahead and fast forward to say, what do I remember about the order of the show and how wrong am I? So I was thinking I'd just run through different parts of what I can remember about A Christmas Story in my mind, and then, see what the tape, the tale of the Christmas Story, a tale of the tape. And in my mind, okay, I think it takes place in Cleveland, Ohio, but that's not a huge part of the movie. And I was under the impression the first scene took place at nighttime in downtown Cleveland for a holiday parade, and that what's his name, Mikey, Ralphie, and his brother, whose name will come to me at some point, and his mother and his father were there for the holiday parade. And then they saw, they looked in the windows of Macy's or Bloomingdale's or whatever. And this is one of my favorite scenes of the movie, is that they look and he sees the Red Ryder fun machine that he wants for Christmas. I think Mikey or Ralphie knows that it's he moved beyond Santa Claus, and that just this very nostalgic, fun thing. And then then they go into Macy's, so the snow's falling. I don't know what year it takes place, 1950 maybe, I don't know, honestly. But so then they go into Macy's or the department store, whatever the department store is. I think it was a different one. And Ralphie, is that his brother's name? I'll think of his brother's name, hopefully. Or I'll just turn closed captioning on in the movie. But, so Ralph, so they wait in line to see Santa. The parents, I think they go to do some shopping or something. And then Ralphie then the Santa was played brilliantly by, first of all, there's this kid in line who they say smells like tapioca pudding. Oh, and there's a lot of VO in the episode. The movie, which is playing the adult Ralph, doing voiceover. It's just really, really well done. And really sets up a lot of the jokes and a lot of the action. And I don't think the movie would work. Especially with the acting in this is great, and maybe I'll even remember the actor's name. But I think his name's Peter, or maybe not. But how good the acting is, the young actors. But the voiceover just helps, supplement the performances. I think in a way that if it was just kid acting, it wouldn't have been. It is a classic holiday movie, I would say. But so then they go to see Santa, and Santa is very much like Billy Bob Thornton style. I haven't seen Bad Santa 2 yet, but maybe I do by the time this comes out. Saw Bad Santa 1 when it was in the movie theater with my whole family. Somewhere, I'm not even sure where we were. My sister was having an engagement thing. And so we were out of town in the country somewhere, and we all got to the movie theater. Most of us got there in time for the movie, but my mom got there late, and this was I don't know, whenever that came out, she was talking on her cell phone, trying to find us in the movie theater. It was one of those terrible moments. But so, where was I? So there's this great scene with Santa where he says, Ralphie says, Santa says, it sets up the theme of the movie where he says, geez, what do you want for Christmas? He says, well, I want this Red Ryder fun thing. And Santa says, no, you're not mature enough for that, kid. Said it's bad for your eyesight. And then Santa dismisses him. And his brother's afraid of Santa, I believe. And it's really just a good, gruff Santa, not over the top, but just enough of a weather-beaten Santa Claus. I just love it. That's one of my favorite scenes, that whole thing, from the outside shots to the inside shots, to the other kid waiting in line. That was a little bit odd. And I thought that was the beginning of the movie. Now, what's running in the background here, and again, I may have pressed the wrong button, is that, it's Ralphie And I may have looked away a few times, because I'm recording this part of the podcast, but that Ralphie, is at home, and then there was a scene, I don't remember any of this. He hides magazines with ads for the toy he wants. Then he has a meal with his family where I think they finally ask him what he wants, and he says, I want this Red Ryder super fun toy. And they say, oh, no, you can't have that. And then this recurring theme in one of the better ones where Ralphie daydreams that this toy, and this was very relatable for me, and I'd forgotten about this scene, but Ralphie starts to daydream that there's this Bart, this cowboy who comes to town, and Ralphie's also a cowboy, like a sheriff, and faces off against him in his daydream, and he has this toy which allows him to to protect the town. I guess their house is the homestead, and Ralphie successfully saves his family, saves the farm. So I didn't remember that. I'd forgotten that part. There's also this recurring thing with the dad in the furnace. That's kind of his futility. He has trouble with the neighbors' dogs, the bupkises, and their furnace, their boiler or whatever, is always broken. So he's always trying to fix it to save money, I believe, or that he's Mr. Fix-It, I think. And then the poor beleaguered mother, she because he's just a bit of a, and again, I don't know the wonderful actor that plays the father. It looks a lot like my therapist, and, that's not confusing at all. I didn't even think about that till this minute, but whatever. Those are other themes that are throughout the movie. But I guess the next scene that I'm trying to remember, the next scene that I remember, I don't know what's going to come next. I said, well, geez, is it that? And then they go downtown to see Santa Claus? Because that's my favorite. That's the number one thing I remember. But there's a couple scenes at school. Oh, but here they go. I think they're getting ready to go to either school or downtown because Ralphie's brother gets on this giant snowsuit. But I don't know if this is a scene getting ready for school. It's like a lot of physical comedy with the mom trying to get everything on him. And he's got all these layers. He kind of looks ridiculous. But it is Cleveland. Also, very cute kid. He can't put his arms down. He's so overpuffed. But I don't know. So this scene coming up next year, it could either be one where they go to school and they encounter Scott Farcus, who I remember for a few reasons. One of my neighbors had red hair and was tough. He wasn't really a bully, but he looked a little bit like Scott Farcus. So we used to he wouldn't take. Sometimes he would take me for. One time he took me for a snowmobile ride, and I fell off the back. But I didn't get hurt. It was in a snowbank. He always had motorcycle. He was one of the cool kids. He was a cool neighbor. But yeah, he had. But he looked like Scott Farcus. But Scott Farcus and his sidekick, they throw snowballs at Ralphie and his brother. And kind of, mean to them. And I think in this scene, maybe they emasculate Ralphie. I think maybe Ralphie and his friends, or maybe they but Ralphie's left, or maybe Ralphie was excited about something. So it's kind of like a down moment for Ralphie and his friends and his brothers, Scott Schwartz and this other kid. And now, if my guessing is correct, the next scene will be they get to school. And they're in this I talked about on a podcast episode. I think that people who make movies, because Ralphie did a report, they were supposed to do reports of who, oh, what do you want for Christmas and why? That was an essay, and Ralphie had done one about why he wanted the super fun, a Red Ryder super fun kit, a maker toy. And Oh, also his brother, he falls in the snow because he's like, he needs his brother to help him get up in the snow. And I had forgotten about that refrain of Ralphie, I can't get up, I'm stuck, I can't get up. And Ralphie, and that's when they think Farcus befalls them. But let's see, so they get to school and he thinks he's going to get an A+ on this paper, why I needed the Red Ryder super fun maker kit. And he gets an F, I think. And the teacher says, you know, this is not a good idea for you to play with. Now, there's also like a lot of, Cleveland and Syracuse are similar places, so a lot of the scene, they play a practical joke on the teacher. I forgot about this. So that's like another scene at school. But Ralphie ends up failing his paper, and then he daydreams, you know, his teacher's against him. The students are kind of mean-spirited. I think they're like, are they doing this to make fun of the teacher? They all have fake teeth. No, the teacher's teeth look normal, I guess. But the kids all put in fake teeth, and they're all laughing. I don't know who was behind that. That's a lot of pairs of fake teeth to trick a teacher with. But then, yeah, so Ralphie has another disappointing moment because he fails his paper because he thought the teacher would become an advocate for him. I don't know what he daydreams. I know he daydreams that she's like one of the characters from The Wizard of Oz, because the Wizard of Oz characters were also, this must have been when The Wizard of Oz had come out. It's set at that period. But like, she's one of the characters of The Wizard of Oz. I'm sure you can figure out which one. Lady Witchbeard would know. Hint, hint, hint. Okay, also there's a scene that I remember from movie. I don't remember it being at this point in the movie, but I guess it is, apparently, is like the children are positing, well, geez, if it's like, if you're outside and it's cold, will something wet stick to, what do you call that, a flagpole? And they say no, and then they say yes, and I don't know what this is supposed to tell us about Ralphie, but they, like, his friend gets dared to try to see if, you know, that his scarf, if his scarf is wet, will it stick to the flagpole? And it kind of shows, you know, kids being kids, but also kind of shows, because Ralphie doesn't stand up for his friend and no one wants to get in trouble. And so I don't know if it's supposed to just show us some judgment or set up like why Ralphie is not ready to get his super fat, happy fun kit quite yet. But there is this scene with the flagpole, which is, you know, not exactly Ralphie's like best moment, I would say. And, you know, everybody's like, I can't believe that. And then I think the teacher, in the ultimate comic sense, says, okay, who did the dare? You know, if you're honest, you'll admit, and, you know, and take the consequences. They won't be so bad if you admit it. And even in the voiceover, you know, the kids kind of laugh at that. They say, you know, that's never going to happen. And then is the scene, and now I'm seeing when they encounter Scott Farcus and his sidekick. And again, I think we see that Ralphie is not ready. I guess, I don't know if this is like, I don't want to overthink the storytelling here, but Ralphie isn't able to stand up for his friends. And so they all run, but he actually runs faster than his little brother. And then he runs all the way home. And then there's this scene, which I saw, but I would definitely not have remembered this, where Ralphie gets home and gets this, like, this is the days of radio. So this is pre-TV when people used to, and now that we do podcasts here, kind of a return to it with radio dramas. Ralphie sits in front of the radio, like he gets his little orphan Annie a decoder ring, which he's been waiting for. Oh, no, he checks in the mailbox, isn't there? But I remember the scene, even though I'm a little early. And he gets the decoder ring and listens to the radio show. And then they're getting a secret broadcast from little orphan Annie. And Ralphie's so excited, like, I can't believe I'm going to figure this one out. You know, little orphan Annie, you know, maybe she wants me to recruit me, or what is it? And it turns out it's an ad for Ovaltine, which I think Ovaltine's like enriched chocolate milk drink or chocolate water drink. And so Ralphie's a little bit disappointed because he says, what a ripoff. It's just an ad for Ovaltine. So it's another defeat for Ralph. And it turns out after the Farcus scene here, Ralphie's doing his homework. And then his dad's coming home from work. He's having to deal with the Bumpkiss's dogs or the Bupkiss's dogs. And I don't know if this is when the dad, he says, geez, I won this award. It's coming soon. A special reward, like a sweepstakes award or something. Or what. But then there's like a dinner scene. And then the award comes. And I guess this kind of shows the parallel. Like, this is one of the more memorable scenes. For me, this scene never really did it for me. I don't know why. But this is, like, probably the most famous scene in the movie where the dad, he thinks he's getting this big award or a big prize. And, you know, that he won this thing. And it ends up it's a lamp that's like a woman, like a mannequin, light up leg. Light up leg lamp, and the dad still wants to light it up and put it in the front of the house, and the mom's embarrassed and humiliated, and the dad is like absolutely ecstatic about the way it looks and that he won it, and he's bragging to the neighbors. Everybody's gathered in the street looking at it, and the mom's embarrassed. I don't think the kids are old enough to be embarrassed yet. That it's a stocking or fishnet stocking leg with a lampshade on it. And, but the dad, you know, he thinks it's like this great moment. And then, yeah, now is like, now I'm seeing the, Ralphie's fantasy about his teacher grading his paper and being so impressed. Like like just like I was when I wrote that one paper. And then Ralphie gets his grade, and it doesn't turn out good. And then the family, is this the downtown scene? Like, do I have it that confused in my mind? Okay, now they're going to buy a Christmas tree. So they're down at the Christmas tree lot, and I don't know. Christmas Vacation's another movie I thought about doing because it has better Christmas tree jokes, I think. But you know, the dad's trying to debate with the Christmas tree salesman. Oh, and then this is a scene I forgot here. But they get a flat tire, and the dad loves changing the tires of his car. Like he pretends he's like a race car pit guy. And the mom says, Ralphie, you're almost a man now, so why don't you go help your dad change the tire? And they start to share this father and son moment. At first, where the father, you know, there's like that moment where the father's like, I don't know if I'm ready for you to become a man. And he says, okay, well, let's bond. And he says, okay, hold the lug nuts. And then there's an accident where the dad reaches up and he knocks the lug nuts out of the hubcap that Ralphie was holding him in, and the lug nuts all go into the snow. And the mom, I don't know if the mom swears, but then Ralphie gets in a ton of trouble. He also blames his friend. Instead of saying he heard it from his dad, he says he heard it from his friend. So then he goes home, he has to wash his mouth out with soap, which my parents tried this a couple times. Doesn't work, I'll tell you. I mean, the only thing, then I'm not kidding, it made me identify more with cartoon characters and Ralphie in a good way. Like, I think it was almost like some sort of, so it backfires as what I'm saying. So, and then Ralphie has a cool, another daydream about, and these are the kind of good kid daydreams. Is like, well, you know what would teach my parents for washing my mouth out with soap if there was some side effect of washing my mouth out with soap, and they had to deal with the consequences of it. And, you know, they were devastated by that. So I think that was a funny one. Then it looks like there's a montage, a lot of great shots of Cleveland in the winter or wherever they shot the movie. And a Farcus chasing the kids. This scene I don't remember. It's all the kids giving Christmas gifts to the teacher. Ralphie's giving her a giant basket of fruit and stuff, maybe as a bribe for his essay. So I guess that punchline hasn't been revealed yet. Or maybe Ralphie has a crush on his teacher. I'm not sure exactly of the... That was a scene I didn't remember. And I keep forgetting at what point Ralphie starts to stand up for himself. And I guess this is the after effect of just turning it on and watching it when it's on TV instead of sitting down and watching the movie, as we did a few times as a kid. But there are scenes, there are things that drag, like this scene with the teacher. Oh, he just winked and pointed at the teacher, so maybe it doesn't drag. But there are moments, I guess, that... and now there's another little montage with the Farcus chasing the boys. And then the next scene is the Little Orphan Annie scene where Ralphie gets home and uses the Dakota ring. And the Dakota ring's like brass, and it uses numbers for letters. Ralphie's decoding it in the bathroom. I think he's too young but his mom still wants to know why he's in the bathroom so long, even though he's, not in middle school. So, but be sure to drink your Ovaltine. And then we have yet another dinner scene. I think the dad is swearing down with the furnace and emerging and playing the blame game. Oh, wait. The mom knocks over the dad's lamp, which causes this. He says it was passive-aggressive and on purpose. And she kind of says it was an accident. I wonder what scene's next. I keep waiting for the Farcus showdown. I don't know what scenes are left in the movie either. There's Christmas Eve. There's Christmas Eve. Is there a Christmas Eve? I don't know. There's Christmas Day, which is broken into a few segments. But I'm trying to think what else we have coming up here. I guess Ralphie standing up for himself against Farcus, which is a pretty basic scene, but, Ralphie kind of gets just stands up for himself, but he really, you can see that he's been repressing a lot of things. And then he kind of has this emotional release with his mom, and they kind of connect on that. And she seems to be very loving and understanding. Right now, the scene's still unfolding where they're arguing about the lamp. I don't know if this must have been short stories written by someone. And now we have another scene of the boys going to school. So I presume this is when Ralphie gets his F from his teacher. And then my guess would be it's followed up with the Farcus scene. Because Farcus is there at school. And they're saying something to Ralphie. And something about not respecting them. There's something improper. And now Ralphie, so they strung out the Ralphie essay thing. I guess they didn't string it out. That's critical of me. To 3 scenes. So now Ralphie's going home defeated, sad that he failed his essay and that his hope of getting the Red Ryder Fun Kit is coming to an end. And then he encounters Farcus, stands up for himself, also expresses his frustrations. And then he gets treated by his mom, very calm and loving. And it's a nice moment. Even his brother's upset that his repressed brother got stood up for Ralphie. His brother was just never seen his brother express his feelings or something. But I don't know, is the next day, maybe the next scene is the scene that I thought opened the movie, or maybe not, maybe I missed the opening of the movie. But then there's the Christmas, that was Ralphie crying, I guess because he didn't have his glasses on. Ralphie goes to bed crying, then the little brother is kind of upset too. The little brother looks a little bit like 9 from Stranger Things. I'm not being jokey either. I think I can say that in a neutral, observational way. A little bit. Probably, I don't know. It's just an observation. Oh, but I guess my curiosity was, so the thing that I thought opened the movie is here, 2/3 of the way through the movie. The Christmas parade, the holiday parade, the trip to see Santa, and this kid in line. Ralphie and his brother are dressed up in suits even. to go see Santa Claus. His hair's pasted and Brillo creamed or whatever. And a lot of good voiceover. Obviously, I'm watching it on mute, but this kid they're in line with I think they said the kid smelled like tapioca pudding. The Santa, his nose is very red. I don't know if that's a condition or makeup. And then there's a couple like interesting, and there's a slide. Like, so you went up the stairs. This was a dream of mine, I guess, as a kid, to see Santa this way, to go up the stairs and then you would sit on Santa's lap, and then you would go down a slide. And at some point, I think you'd get a candy cane, but just a very great scene. Like very, I don't know, I love it. So I'm guessing the next day will it be Christmas? So they go through the thing, and now they're trimming the tree. And this is always something, and then, you know, of course, they think the power goes out because they overload the circuit. And the dad, you know, he's very perfectionist, so, you know, he overdoes everything. And the wife, she tries to be a voice of reason. Yeah, there goes the power just circuited out. And I don't know, I guess that's a tradition of different things. Like, when do you trim your tree? I don't even think we called it decorating the tree. And I think we would just do it the night we got our tree, I believe. But I think some people do it on the 24th. I prefer... I mean, I guess I haven't had a tree in, honestly, a long time. I'm not last time I tried to get a tree, I got into an argument at the tree lot because the person wouldn't bargain with me. And I said, well, I mean, honestly, it was embarrassment. I was the embarrassment. I mean, I was looking at a smaller tree. I said, how much for this tree? I said, $40. And I said, I'll give you 20. And he said, $40. And then I kind of lost my temper. And I told him what he could do with the tree. So that was it for that tree lot. But honestly, I thought, can't you negotiate the price of a tree? Especially this was like probably the 20th. It's December 20th. You know, you can't be charging full price for a tree. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a hypocrite too. I realize that too. But yeah, now we have the boys. They're dressed up. The fireplace is going. So I assume this is Christmas Eve. And then we'll get into Christmas morning and this anticipation. Maybe there'll be one more scene that I forgot about with, what are they doing? The boys are excited to do something. Oh, to go to bed, I guess, for Christmas. But, you know, the next question for the next day will be, will Ralphie get his Red Ryder fun kit? And that'll be carried out through the day. Oh, yeah, look at, like, what is that called? Bokeh or whatever, where the lights are out of focus, Brillo, when you take a picture. But let's see, I see wrapping paper. I think there's a scene with the parents wrapping. No, this is Christmas Day. And I don't know how these kids are still asleep when the sun's up. We would get up before the sun, me and my siblings. And I think we wouldn't go to sleep, or we'd get up at like 2 a.m. And my dad, you know, because we wanted to catch Santa. And if we didn't, we wanted to get the presents as soon as we could get them. Couldn't sleep. We had Christmas anticipation or holiday anticipation. And so my dad would sleep at the top of the stairs. My house was a reverse. So the basement of the house was where the kids' bedrooms were. And then the top floor was where the kitchen and my parents' bedroom and the living room was. But yeah, so we have the scene with Ralphie awaking. And then I think we have like a little bit of a Christmas, there's ice on the trees. It's beautiful. It looks great. And I think we have like a scene of like a little bit of Christmas joy. And this is some relatable stuff, like where there's a slow present opening, because I think one person hands out the presents. I don't know how this works. I can't remember. But really a bounty, like these kids are lucky, you know, and I was very lucky to have generous parents, and you know, that save, you know, so this is a little lucky situation that these boys have they're idealized situation maybe. But they're kind of looking under the tree, and then like it'll be a slow unfolding with the payoff of Ralphie getting these pajamas that his aunt designed for him, or his grandmother. And then still, like, all the presents would be open, and it's like, oh, okay, Ralphie gets this acceptance that he's not getting the Red Ryder fun kit. And, you know, there's comedy in that he has to dress up like this rabbit, and he gets mad about that. For the most part, though, it's a very nice thing. And now their mom's looking through the presents. I think the kid, his brother, whose name I never remembered, gets a Zeppelin. The dad gets a bowling ball. There's a fire truck I see. I don't know what else. But then let me see if I can guess ahead of time. So then Ralphie ends up, he accepts that he's not going to get the gift that he wants. So this is like a Christmas present opening montage happening. But then, like, he then ends up that the father said, well, geez, you know what? I think there's a hidden gift for you. And this kind of, unfortunately, for most parents, including mine, set up this unrealistic expectation that this is how parents did things. And so the one year I asked for the G.I. Joe hovercraft, I didn't get it. And that was like the 1 year, and it was expensive. I think it was like $40, which is expensive when you have 6 kids. And that was like the 1 year I was very, insistent. That was all I wanted, and I didn't get it. But again, I guess it's an ego thing. Like, my parents may have, like, had such a long list that they didn't know. There was also a year I asked for this one video game for the PC. We had the CGA PC, this Kung Fu game. Not the one you're thinking of, a different one, with a more story-based one. But about like a month before Christmas, I found that, and I opened the box and started playing it. And I guess I must have saved something on the disc because my mom had trouble returning it. She still was able to return it because I never got it as a gift. But she ended up returning that before Christmas. So that was disappointing, too. I mean, not my parents' fault. And also mine. But now Ralphie's going upstairs to put on the bunny pajamas. So a little bit more level of emasculation for Ralphie, I think. His brother's getting another gift, and the mom's giving the bowling ball to her husband. But I wonder, so Ralphie gets the Red Ryder fun kit, then goes to use it and realizes that the warnings that everyone gave him were true. And this also happened to me when I was too old. I asked for this remote-controlled car to race with my friends. Lobo 2, I think it was called. And the one warning about the thing was that if you can't, like, it had weak axle. And, like, I literally broke the axle, like, within 10 minutes on Christmas outside, which was depressing. And then I was afraid to tell my parents because I was afraid my dad would get mad. And so I tried to repair it myself, was never able to repair it. So that was like a low moment. But, you live and you learn. Now Ralphie's in the bunny outfit. But I'm wondering how it comes back around. Ralphie gets to play with his gift and realizes that he's not at the maturity level for the gift yet, or that it has, like, these side consequences. And then I'm not sure what happens after that, so I'm interested to see. But I will pay off the end. So that's one thing I'm not sure about. Then there's the mother makes this huge Christmas dinner, and a turkey, or maybe the dad's like a turkey expert. One of them works really hard at the turkey. And I forget what happens that distracts the family. Maybe it's Ralphie, but I think he just covers up that because he breaks his glasses. I think he makes up a lie. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if he ever does tell the truth, but he makes up a lie. And his glasses get broke by his new toy. He blames it on an icicle. And now in the movie is like the post-Christmas, like the brother's asleep with his Zeppelin. And I think this is when the dad gives Ralphie the gift. But then they have this Christmas dinner, And but then they get distracted, and the Farcus's dogs, or not the whatever, the dogs come. Mom and Dad are drinking wine. Snuggle with Ralphie. He's kind of like, well, I accept that I didn't get what I wanted. It was a good Christmas, though. Very lucky. He's being legitimate in both his acceptance and his disappointment, and not being a brat, which I've done before as a child. But then the Bumpkiss's dogs come and eat their Christmas dinner. And then there's a scene where they go a little bit playing in pejoratives or whatever, where they go to a Chinese restaurant for dinner. But this is good acting. The dad says, geez, I think I see something stuck behind the tree there. Why don't you go check it out? And Ralphie can't believe it, and I don't even know if the mom can believe it. And now we have, skipped ahead, so where Ralphie realizes that he's not quite ready to use his gift. The first time he used it, and this is, these are, everybody, this is another reason why this movie's so, like the thing with the school report and the other kids. These are some of the things that, but Ralphie's crying, which I think the mom hears, so then he has to make up a lie about his glasses, that he got hit by a icicle. And she brings him inside, and he's covering it up, and the dad says, geez, what's the big deal here? And Ralphie's going through some healing again with his mother, and she's taking care of it. And I guess I don't know if Ralphie, does this movie end in a lie? Yeah, he just turned to the camera and smiled, so I think he's but I wonder, I guess, will he be so worried that he won't go back to his super fun toy? Because he realizes, geez, I'm not ready to handle this, and I never understood the technology anyway, like how they had this in the 1950s. And the dad's sitting down with the paper. I think he's looking at the funnies, the Chicago Telegram. I can't read it. There's an ad for Pimple Cream. Oh, the dogs sneak right in while the dad's reading the paper, like stealth dogs. I think they're like some sort of hound. And yeah, they're taking their Christmas meal. And it's not like one dog. The house next door has like 10 dogs or something. So it really, they really blow it up on the dad, and they even knock over the table, and then they all run out. So the dad's not happy at all. And I guess this is like usually how the movie ends. Like I don't know. The last scene, I'm like, I don't know. It seems like a little offensive. But I always wonder what happens after it. So here they are still. They're in the kitchen. He's still upset about it. Mom is crying. Ralphie's giving his the thing to his mom as a tissue that he was using on his cheek. Now there is the Chop Suey Palace open. In my Bowling and Sons, so they're going there for dinner, and I think they sing to everybody, and everybody's clapping now. But yeah, I guess they're having they've got bow tie. The youngest kid's got a bow tie on. Peking duck, I think they're having for dinner. Oh, and then it closed. Now it's the house again. It's snowing. I don't remember this scene. The mom's coming downstairs, and she shuts out the lights. Is that the end of the movie? No. Now there's moonlight, and she's still walking, and she puts the radio on. I don't remember this scene at all. Holy moly. The Christmas tree is on. Snow's falling outside. The dad's waking up from a nap, or he's sitting on the couch, and I think this is like the adult romance time. They just cheered their glasses. And I guess soon, they'll be, I don't know, I don't know what they do, the two of them, but he has his hand on her back. She's putting her hand, so very romantic closing scene. Is this the last scene? And it fades out. And Ralphie's in bed dreaming. His brother's in bed dreaming. Very picturesque. Does he have his toy? I think he has his Christmas present in bed. His brother has his Zeppelin in bed. I don't know if Ralphie has his gift in bed with him. And the camera's kind of scanning around. I think because his present also had a compass and all sorts of great stuff for camping on there. And we're just seeing, like, Ralphie's calm, childlike face. He is a child face. If you have a child's face, I don't know. He's kid-like dreaming face. I think there's probably voiceover going, helping us conclude the movie. But I'm just, and now it fades out to the outside, to the front of the house. The snow is falling again. Ice and snow in the trees lit up in the window. And it closes a Bob Clark film. And yeah, I guess that closes a little holiday memory there for me, or dismemory, of a Christmas story. I guess it's Christmas stories tied together. But I hope you have a wonderful holiday with you and yours, whether it's warm or cold. This podcast will be here for you to help you fall asleep. I'll be off for the week between Christmas and New Year's. But yeah, thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots tucking you in. I'm hoping you're the one person that we've been trying to get a hold of that's listening and hearing me right now, that's going to support the show right now at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. You could save 20%. If you sign up by the end of the year, 20% off your first 3 months. But I wanted to check in, and say, when you sign up for Sleep With Me Plus, make sure to add all of the podcast feeds to a podcast app. And I would say check out an independent podcast app, whether you have Apple or Android phone. There's tons of great options. And take that podcast app and only listen to the Sleep With Me Plus content in it. So then you have whatever app you're listening to this ad-supported version in. Maybe that's the app you use for your daytime podcasts. Maybe you keep your music app for music only. Then you have a daytime podcast app and then a bedtime podcast app. And this isn't just something I'm talking about. This is how I listen to podcasts. I have a podcast app that I use for running. A podcast app I use for listening to episodes of Sleep With Me before they come out. A podcast app I use to listen to podcasts while I'm driving. A podcast app that I use to listen to podcasts with my daughter. And then my music app that I also use as a backup podcast app. But you're going to have so much of a better experience if you just, and you can try out a bunch of different podcast apps. If you're on Sleep With Me Plus, you can add your podcasts to multiple podcast apps and see which one works best. But good independent podcast apps, you can always learn more by watching YouTube videos about how to use them, but you can build playlists, set sleep timers, but you don't have to worry about daytime podcasts coming on or music coming on, or if you're paying for the show on Sleep With Me Plus, you don't have to worry about the ads coming on or anything like that. And even if you listen to these ad-supported versions, you should try it. It's going to be a better experience because a lot of independent podcast apps let you search in the individual podcast feeds. So you could look up, hey, my favorite episodes are Bake Off or TNG episodes or Ray episodes or Make Great Pets. Whatever your favorites are, it's a lot easier to do that in a podcast app. And it's particularly when you use podcast apps for certain uses, it almost becomes like its own app. But it's better than an app because podcast apps are built with podcast listening in mind. So it's just going to be a much, 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 much better experience. And I just want to save you, I just want to make your listening experience the best it possibly can. So I guess what I'm saying is no matter what app you listen in, or whether you're a paid listener or you enjoy this listener-supported, ad-supported version of the podcast, check out some of these great independent podcast apps that are out there. Try it out, but just listen to your sleep podcasts in an app, not any other. Keep your daytime podcasts in whatever app you're listening in right now. Then you'll discover a new podcast app. You might discover features that you didn't know existed. Oh, by the way, though, when you set up Sleep With Me in any podcast app, make sure features like Smart Speed and Vocal Boost are turned off. They might have different terms, truncate silence, silence skipping, something about volume, but usually called like vocal boost or volume boost and smart speed or silence skipping. Make sure those are off and you're listening at 1x speed. There's another little thing. And oh, by the way, some people slow the show down. And again, a high quality podcast app will be able to slow the show down without adding any like audio artifacts or anything. So anyway, it's just my message, and that we're having a huge sale, sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus, 20% off your first 3 months. If you're a new subscriber, 20% off gift subscriptions. And here's the thing, we do need your support if you're a super listener, and if you support the show, then it'll definitely be here in 2026 for you. Thanks.